Alright, welcome back to another Sega Driven collection video with me, Sonic Yoda from SEGADriven.com. I wanted to talk about the most recent release from Datadiscs. So this is Galaxy Force 2 and Thunderblade on vinyl. So yeah, I just wanted to talk about this really recently because I've been getting all of these. They're lovely little things. They basically give me an opportunity to own soundtracks from games that I haven't been able to because for whatever reason they're difficult to get hold of or very expensive or the import prices are ridiculous. So it's lovely that there's a UK label producing Sega soundtracks on record so that I can finally listen to a lot of these things. Because, yeah, they've done Streets of Rage, Shenmue, Shinobi 3, Super Hang-On, Streets of Rage 2, Outrun, Golden Axe 1 and 2, Panzer Dragoon and The Revenge of Shinobi. So, yeah, lots of classic Sega games covered there. And yeah, it obviously giving me an opportunity to own some of my favourite soundtracks. Streets of Rage 2 in particular, I've wanted to own that soundtrack for God knows how long, and yeah, finally able to get it. So yeah, this is the most recent release, and it's one of the most interesting ones that they've done so far because, like I say, it's two soundtracks, but not on two LPs. So I'll show you how they've done this. So it's a single LP. Plays at 33 RPM. Doesn't say that anywhere on the sleeve. Always a pet peeve of mine. Like, put the speed on it, please. But yeah, so this is the special edition variant, which is clear with a yellow blob and white splatter. Lovely effect, very striking. Really into that. So yeah, side A, you've got Galaxy Force 2, and side B, you've got Thunderblade. Now, let's talk a little bit about this. So I think the obvious reason as to why they've done these two soundtracks together is because thematically they're very similar. They both contain music by Koichi Namiki, if I remember correctly. Yep, that's definitely the case. And they've got a similar sort of funk jazz style. Okay, so lots of progressive sort of bass that sort of permeates a lot of the music on these two soundtracks. So yeah, it makes sense for them to be both presented on the same record, basically. What I don't like about this release is, as you can see, big Galaxy Force 2 artwork. There's no Thunderblade artwork on it whatsoever. No coverage at all. You get a lithographic print of some more Galaxy Force 2 artwork, which I'm not particularly impressed with. This has clearly been blown up because I don't know if you can see it very well on camera, but if you actually look at it in naked eye, you can see that it is blurring due to the fact that the small resolution has been blown up. So yeah, not the greatest piece of artwork, that one, unfortunately. I mean, it's a lovely piece, don't get me wrong, but the quality of it is not particularly good. So yeah, there is absolutely no artwork or reference. Well, I mean, the logo for Thunderblade is on it, and it does say that their soundtrack contains the Thunderblade soundtrack. But like I say, no artwork included on this one, which is a bit disappointing. If you're going to actually feature another game on the same record, at least make some sort of reference to it in artwork-wise. Now, it could well be the case that there isn't any sort of high-quality, readily available Thunderblade artwork for them to source and use for this. But if that's the case, why not do what you did before with some of the other releases? Like Outrun doesn't have any high quality artwork on it apart from the logo, so they've just used pixel art from the game. And again there, look. So that's perfectly striking and interesting. You know, that's a nice piece of artwork. I don't mind that. So why, if you didn't have that option for Thunderblade, why not just use the pixel art from the game? Is what I'm saying. You know, I think it's a bit of a missed opportunity. And all right, you might say that, you know, there's not an opportunity to put the artwork on there because if you split the front cover, for instance, you'd be missing a piece of the artwork for the purposes of having two bits of artwork on the front. I mean, you could have at least used the reverse sleeve, but then again, you wouldn't want to put the track list over any Thunderblade artwork. So why not do what you've done with Revenge of Shinobi, where you've got this lovely inner slipcase with more artwork on it? Could have had the Thunderblade artwork on that. I'm just speaking with the power of hindsight here. I mean, understandably, it can't be perfect all the time, but I just feel like there's a bit of a missed opportunity with the artwork on this one because there's two games being covered on this record, and only one of them gets the actual full artwork like featured on the sleeve. So yeah. The other thing I want to talk about is the fact that these soundtracks, these games in particular, are not. They're not the most recognizable Sega games, I feel. Now, it might just be that I'm like speaking from my own sort of insular like dealings with these games, but for whatever, I've never seen much of a hoo-ha about Galaxy Force 2 and Thunderblade. You know, they're not as widely remembered as very like standout Sega games. I appreciate that like thematically they're very similar because they're third person sort of behind the ship style moving into the screen shooters. But if you were going to do that, then why not pick two more memorable, more iconic Sega games? Like you could have done Space Harrier and Afterburner 2 together. Like that would have made sense to me. Like again, two very iconic Sega games, very similar in style. You could have joined those together, and that would have been a more attractive release for me personally. But yeah, and what with not being as familiar with these games and these soundtracks, I wasn't as blown away by the music on these, to be honest with you. I mean, what with them being sort of like this progressive funk jazz kind of thing going on, there's not as many memorable melodies on these soundtracks, I feel. I mean, like, for instance, on Galaxy Force 2, the only song that really sticks with me is Beyond the Galaxy, and that's mainly because it's the first stage of the game, so it's the one you've played the most. Similar thing with Thunderblade. I think it's either Thunderblade or Burning Point is the song that I know the most from that game, just because it's the one you hear the most. So, yeah, I mean, everything else on here was kind of like I'm not as familiar with it, and it's like, and I don't know if it's just because of my own, like you say, insular sort of ignorance towards the rest of the game and the soundtrack, or if it's just because I haven't clicked with these games as much as other people. But I personally feel like these two games are a little bit more obscure, and a little bit like, and these soundtracks are a little bit more aimed at like the enthusiast, the Sega enthusiast. It doesn't have the wider appeal as something like Space Harrier or Afterburner 2. So why not do that? Like, it just feels like there was a missed opportunity there. You could have tackled two more widely known, more iconic soundtracks, and given them a lovely release. But yeah, I mean, like, this is still a pretty decent quality soundtrack, don't get me wrong. I really like the H arrangement version of Beyond the Galaxy that features on the first side, which is obviously done by Hiroshi Kawaguchi, who's done many other Sega soundtracks. In fact, he might have done Space Harrier and Afterburner 2. I can't think if that's correct off the top of my head, but don't quote me on that, obviously. But yeah, really cool version on that. And there's some unused songs on the Thunderblade side, which is again like nice to see. But like I say, these two soundtracks, I don't feel like they were the best choice personally. They're not as widely known. The games I don't feel are as much beloved as, you know, some of the other third-person Sega shooters from that time. So yeah, it's a bit of a strange release, this one. I'm not as this has been one of the few where I feel like I wasn't as like into this.